Okay, so next I'm going to be reviewing Hatchet, which came out in 2006 and is directed by Adam Green. Um, Hatchet is a horror comedy slasher series, and this is the first time we get introduced to one of the modern horror slashers, or horror villains, whatever, called Victor Crowley. So the plot of Hatchet is these two guys, um, Ben and Marcus, they go down to New Orleans because Marcus wants Ben to forget about his his ex-girlfriend, um, who cheated on him and left him. Well, Ben's getting tired of going party and stuff. He's like, I'm tired of that. He says, it's not helping me. He says, I want to do something else while I'm here. And he said, let's go on this boat trip that I heard about from this other guy that's been here before. And so, Marcus thinks that's kind of a lame idea and all that, but he goes, alright, I'll just do it because you're my friend, And they go visit, this one guy. I think his name is Reverend Zombie. He's not a main character in the first movie, but he's kind of a main character later on in the franchise. He's played by Tony Todd, he's famous for playing Candyman. And, he tells them, it's a pretty funny scene. He tells them, like he can't do boat tours anymore, because one year he did a boat tour, and, someone got injured and reported him, and he lost, the insurance claim or something. So, he's like, so I don't do boat tours anymore. And then he goes, you might want to go to I think it's Madame Laveau's, and they'll hook you up. So they go over there, and they meet this guy, this Asian guy. The real actor's name is Perry Shin, but his name is Andrew. And, you can tell right off the bat that this guy is a con artist, and it becomes more prevalent throughout the movie that he's putting on an act and all that. Like, he doesn't, first he speaks in this very over pronounced, New Orleans accent. Then he tries to pretend like he's actually Chinese. I think Chinese, yeah, or I forgot who he was. Chinese. But then you find out he's just an American. But yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll put you on this boat tour. And while they're there, they meet this guy who's played by Joel Murray, and he's like an amateur porn star filmmaker, and he has these two girls following him around and stuff, and he's always like, take your top off and kiss each other. I know it's kind of weird. And he's like, look terrified, look sexy, look curious, all that. But they meet up with them, and then they're going on the boat trip too. And then they're like, meet us here later, and we'll go on the boat trip. So they get on this bus, and, there's some other visitors going. There's, the amateur porn star and those two girls. There's, the amateur porn director, and the two girls. There's an older couple, which, this guy, he looks familiar. I got his name pulled up, Richard Ryle. I don't know who he plays in, but, he's one of the more familiar actors in this movie. He plays the older couple, and he has a wife, and they're very annoying. They like to correct. When they go on tours and stuff, they like to correct everyone on things, and try to say I heard this was here, and this happened and that. They're just very annoying characters. Most of the characters in this movie are annoying, but I guess it's making fun of slasher tropes, because you always got the stereotypical characters and stuff. Like Marcus is like the token black guy who's like is always cracking jokes. So you got like you got like an older annoying couple. You got the porn amateur porn director who's very like snobby and stuff, and then you got the two annoying girls that with him. Then you got damn, who else is it? Then you got Mary Beth, who is she's looking for her father and her brother, who in the beginning of the movie, who's actually, her father's played by Robert Englund, and her brother's played by Joshua Leonard, which Joshua Leonard, he played in the original Blair Witch Project. They're out on a boating trip, and they're hunting an alligator, and they both get attacked by Victor Crowley. So she's like, quiet and stuff like that. She's like, she's gonna be the final girl in the movie. And then there's, Ben, who is like, he's annoying too. He's the one that's trying to forget his girlfriend, but I guess he's supposed to be like the nerdy kind of guy. And he's trying to like hook up with her and stuff, and she's like, no, I'm not here to make friends and all that. I'm just here to find my brother and my father. But they go on this boat trip, and you can tell the guy, the tour guide doesn't know a damn thing about what he's talking about, and like everyone's getting annoyed with him and stuff, and they said, well, this is not accurate. I don't, like, he takes him to this area where there's like ghost lights, and they're like, no, that's not real, that's just swamp gas and stuff. And then he's just getting mad, and then like the boat breaks down, and everyone thinks, oh, it's part of the tour, and he goes, no, this never happened before. And he's like telling, because the boat starts sinking, because I think they hit a rock, and he's like, oh, we gotta get off the boat, and like no one wants to get off, and the two amateur porn stars are just like freaking out, being annoying as hell, and like, so the older guy, part of the old couple, what's his damn, Rich Arroyo, he's like, well, I'll get off the boat. He's like, cause I don't want to stick around, and he's trying to get off the boat, and they gotta climb across like these dead trees and stuff. Well, he falls, and he falls down, and an alligator comes up and bites him on the leg, so they all decide to get off the boat to, help him and get him up on land. Then Joel Murray's character, he falls off the damn boat, and I'm sorry, he took forever to get out the damn water. He wasn't even that far, and it wasn't even that deep, and he was sitting there trying to get away from the alligator, and it took his ass forever to get out, but he made it out. And then they're like, well, what are we gonna do? And they said, well, we gotta try to find a way to go back to town, so they're walking, and Mary Beth, while they're on the boat trip, the tour guide said that they passed the cabin, and he said that was Victor Crowley's cabin, and he tells them about the legend of Victor Crowley, and she's like, no, that's not what happened, that's not the cabin. And then while they're walking through the woods, they find his real cabin, and she said, we can't go up to that house. And they're like, why not? And they said, she said, that's the Victor Crowley house. Or that's Victor Crowley's house. And they go, no, it's not. We just passed it on the boat ride. And she goes, no, that's not the house. And then, like, she gets aggravated, and she just tells them the story about Victor Crowley, which, when Victor Crowley was a kid, he was severely deformed, and he was raised by his dad, and when he was a kid, he used to get bullied and stuff, but one day his dad was out of town, and Victor Crowley was in the cabin, and a bunch of these kids came up to the house and was throwing firecrackers at the house, trying to scare him out to look at him, but that didn't work. The firecrackers caught the house on fire, and Victor Crowley was trapped in the house, and he didn't know how to get out because, he's mentally disabled. So, when the dad came home, he was breaking through the door with the hatchet, and Victor was standing on the opposite side of the door, and it hit him in the head and killed him. So they call him Hatchet Face too, Victor Crowley, because of the hatchet mark in his head. And they said, I think every year on the death of his anniversary, his ghost is supposed to be haunting the swamp. And the way you know that he's there is that you'll hear, Daddy, like, in the woods when you're walking through the swamp. I mean, of course, no one believes that. And the older couple walk up to the cabin, and they get Victor Crowley jumps out, and like Victor Crowley, like, I don't know, he's kind of reminds me of like Tasmanian Devil. Like, he's very spastic and stuff, and he moves like really fast, and he kind of looks like Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 2, but not. He looks more deformed and like kind of like a reddish color, and like, of course, he got like the hatchet mark in his head, and he wears like these blue overalls, but he's played by Kane Hodder, who played Jason Voorhees in four of the Friday the 13th movies. But the old couple's like running away, and he gets a hold of the husband and starts like cutting him like right there. And I mean, it looks really fake and goofy, but I think that's what he was going for, for like that corny, goofy, bloody, gory look, like in older slasher movies. But the one death I always remember from this movie was when he gets a hold of the older woman. He grabs her, he gets behind her like this, and he grabs, like, her mouth like this, and freaking breaks her fucking head open, breaks it open like that. Like, she breaks it, I'm trying to think of, just breaks it in half. And then, so they start freaking out, and they run off, and they get separated. And, Marcus, hides up in a tree, and they're like, what are you doing up there? He's like, I'm not getting down. He's like, are you crazy? He's like, that thing's after us. And then they finally convince him to get down, and then, the deaths just get crazy and more bloody. And, Joel Murray's character gets his head twisted, his neck snapped and twisted all the way, his head twisted all the way around. For some reason, they got that death on the back of here. It's right. I'm sorry. It's right there. Then, one of the porn stars, what's his name? Damn, Victor Crowley had, a saw blade, or a sand blast, or something I forgot what it's called. But a sand belt. And he puts it in the woman's mouth, and he, fucks up her mouth. And, then he takes her, cause the tour guide, he cuts off the tour guide's leg. He swings, a shovel and cuts off the tour guide's leg. And then, he takes the shovel, steps down, puts it on the guy's neck, and, decapitates him. And then he takes the one lady and just, impales her on the thing, on the shovel, the handle of the shovel. Then there's, Marcus. They're running through a cemetery, and Victor Crowley gets a hold of Marcus and just starts beating the hell out of him, gets tombstones and shit, and throws them across, and throws them, just throws them off, like a rag doll. Then, the other porn star, you don't see what happened to her, but he, the one guy, the main guy, he's trying to, figure out something to kill Victor Crowley with, and, she gets torn, he tears her apart, and you see, Victor Crowley throws the head at the main guy, and he starts throwing, her torso and stuff at him, and then, they try setting Victor Crowley on fire, and it doesn't work. because it starts raining, and then the main guy's like, "You gotta be fucking kidding!" And he's like, and then they run off. And then the ending, which I won't give away, but it was kind of like a what the fuck kind of ending. It didn't make no sense, like the most of the endings in this franchise. But yeah, I know a lot of people for some reason don't like this franchise, but I do. I mean, the humor is kind of hit or miss. It's very like, you know, toilet humor, I guess. But there are some scenes that actually genuinely made me laugh, like when Reverend Zombie was talking about like how he was, like why his boating trip, why he didn't do boat tours anymore, because he like builds it up like something serious happens and it wasn't even that serious. But yeah, I mean, I like the kills in it. I like the legend of Victor Crowley and how the look of him and all that. I mean, the acting's overacting, but you know, it's not supposed to be taken seriously. It's a horror comedy, and it's supposed to be not, I guess not making fun of slasher movies. It's kind of poking fun at them, but also paying an homage to them. Because, you know, older slasher movies were, you know, are not like Oscar worthy kind of movies. They were kind of cheesy and stuff, you know. But anyways, that's my review.